On today's show, digital marketing with Mr. Gary Elekes. Today, we have a special segment from Gary Elekes. We launch our updated digital marketing course this month, and as usual, we like to give out a little taste of the content for free.
Hi, I'm Gary Elekes. Welcome back to Contractor University, and we are here to talk about the digital marketing series. And today, we're going to go through how digital marketing actually integrates into an overall marketing plan. So one of the key things that we've learned over the years since digital really came on board in the 2000-ish, late 1990s, 2000s, as we got into the 2007s and the smartphone technology began to emerge, many trends began to converge and data became a huge opportunity for us. So we were able to take traditional marketing and what we now call omni-channel marketing and marry that to the digital practices. So the first video in this series is going to be a discussion about how to take digital marketing and integrate it into an overall marketing plan. So it's one thing to say, well, I'm going to do just digital marketing, and that would be fine if you had a limited budget or you were a startup company or you were in an area where you felt like competition was difficult or challenging in a large metro area where you couldn't necessarily afford traditional media like radio or OTT. But where we are today, I think what you want to do is put a marketing plan together that analyzes things, which would be demographics, trends, data, your brand, etc. So I'm going to take you through an outline for what I think is necessary for you as a business to start with, so that as you spend your marketing money in your digital platforms, you can choose carefully, choose wisely, and you get the best bang for your buck. So let's talk about that. Let's go to the whiteboard. I'll take you through an outline. All right, welcome to the Whiteboard Lab. And so what I have up here is a series of bullet points that I want to make sure that we go through. So the very first thing we want to talk about is your company's market analysis. And when I say market analysis, every year a company should engage in a platform of saying, well, what am I doing well? What do I need to do better? What areas am I not performing at all? So we're going to conduct a market analysis, and we're going to first off look at what the competition is doing. I can learn a lot from the competition. I don't necessarily have to react to what the competition is doing, but to study what's happening in the world around me can give me trends, give me ideas, and certainly promotions, processes, those types of things are relevant. So any company that is engaged in developing a marketing plan before they spend their money on digital platforms ought to be thinking about, how do I analyze what's happening in the market? Second thing is market share. Too many companies don't understand how to calculate their market share. So if you go into the marketing platform section of Contractor University, there is a market share calculation form. And so we typically do that by demographics. We'll look at single-family homes. Again, depends on what verticals that you're playing in. If you're in plumbing, HVAC breaks down into replacement, service, maintenance agreements, indoor air quality. All those are broken down into a spreadsheet. And you can look at your census data and actually say, well, I have X number of homes inside of my marketplace, and the value of HVAC service is $450 per home. We know that's the average ticket. And if we know that maybe 15% of the customer base will partake in a crisis breakdown service call, we can project out what the volume of the market is. You can then look at your volume against that and calculate a basic market share. It's not perfect. We're not trying to be perfect. We're trying to get an assessment of what our growth opportunities are and where we might want to spend our money. Third area is consumers and demographics and what I'll call lifestyle. So hard demographics are age, wealth, single-family home ownership. Those are very hard data points. Lifestyles are a little bit different. That's what we call psychographics. That's basically how people are seeing the world, what they consume in terms of their habits. If I play golf, that would be a lifestyle. If I'm a boater, a scuba diver, if I travel, those are all things that we can grab data from, both in terms of Facebook profiles, what we call the pixel systems now. We can actually model, a little scary, what people actually do in terms of their lifestyles based on their clicks. And so we use cookies. Most companies today are going to, the websites are going to say, are you okay with cookies? Accept all. You click yes. That puts a cookie on your computer. Now we're tracking your browser, and we can see from where you go on Facebook and Instagram or TikTok or Twitter or YouTube or any of the social media platforms. We're categorizing what you're doing with your clicks, and what that allows us to do is it allows us to sort of gauge a lifestyle. So if you're clicking on travel a lot and you're booking tickets with your travel, on credit cards, it's pretty simple to get down to the science of saying, well, you probably like that, so we can send you a targeted ad. So demographics tell us who you are and what our audience profile might be. Lifestyles or psychographics start telling us how we might want to send you promotions or send you ads. Fourth on that list is brand. Now, many might say that's number one on the list, and certainly that's where we're going to start our internal marketing plan, where we're actually saying, okay, great, we're going to start spending some time and energy. So brand is important. Because top-of-mind awareness and identity, how you want to present yourself, is going to be crucial. A lot of companies don't really have what I would consider to be a disruptive brand. Certainly there's companies out there that have gone into the process of saying, I want to change my brand, I want to re-identify. Love that. I think you should just ask those questions. Is my brand identity what I want it to be? Is it going to get me where I want to go? So for example, if I'm an HVAC company and I expand into plumbing, if I'm at Gary's Air Conditioning, that doesn't necessarily communicate to the consumer what I actually offer in terms of my brand. So I might need to think about that in terms of the identity and rebranding. So again, these are not detailed conversations in this particular opening video. This is a conversation about how to get through to digital. So if your brand identity isn't where we want it to go and we start sending plumbing ads and it's Gary's Air Conditioning, that's a disconnect. So we want to be thinking about brand identity and how do we create top-of-mind awareness in the marketplace. So that brings us to bullet point 2, which is going to be, how do I set goals for the company? Before I spend your money on digital platforms, I'd like to know what it is that you want to achieve. So the goals for the business have to be where I want to grow. Historically, I go back 5 years, I look at your growth plan or your historical growth percentages by market. I'm also going to want to target the verticals. When we say where, that means a vertical. So that could be demand service, that could be maintenance, that could be installation. There are some companies that don't really want to do a lot of service work, and that's fine. So that would be a question we would ask: where do you want to grow? How do you want to grow? And what vertical? So I have a couple of customers in my agency business that they don't want service. They don't want to target any ads towards that. They want straight up paid search, and they want to generate as many opportunities as they can in the installation business. So that's an important point for us because that focuses our digital efforts on that specific segment. So it's critical that you actually sit down and set goals by vertical. I'm amazed at when we actually onboard new clients in our agency business, how many customers don't have goals set by vertical. They'll have company goals way up here and say, well, I want to grow 20%, or I want to go from 10 million to 15 million. And then the next question for us is, great, let's break down where we want that 5 million to be. Where do we want to grow? What vertical do we want to grow in? And those goals don't seem to be tightly set. So as you think about where you want to go with your digital marketing platforms and your overall how omni-channel approach, meaning traditional media all merged together to create what we call a mix, how do you want to grow by vertical is an essential point. Because service may create lead opportunities for installation in your business if that's your business model. If you don't have service, like we just discussed a minute ago, that's not really going to be a platform for us to want to spend a lot of money. So the third area we need to talk about is what key strategies that you want. Now, I've outlined in the actual marketing platform, there's about 31 different bullet points there, but there are a core set of strategies. There are 15 core strategies in HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. Really, there's about 12 biggies. The last 3 are, things like tuck-ins and things like that. Some companies may partake in that, others not so much. But I need to understand, before I spend your digital monies, where your strategies are going to be. If maintenance growth is a strategy, we may not want to spend an awful lot of money on targeted ads on maintenance. That's really an internal platform. So that gets us down to budget, which is where can the company actually afford its money? How much money can I spend in order to not overspend? So cost per lead, cost per conversion are going to be numbers we're going to talk about later inside of these platforms as we start getting very specific about analytics. But when we start thinking about affordability versus risk, it's always challenging to assess how much do I want to spend extra and what will I get for that. So we call that return on ad spend. Too many people confuse return on investment with return on ad spend. Return on investment is a financial number that's based on profit. If I have $1,000 and I spend money on advertising at $1,000, I need to get back 10% EBIT against that. So at least 10% on a $10,000 transaction, I'm even. That's a zero ROI. But the return on ad spend is there. So you need to decide what the cost associated with spending money is in terms of your overall marketing plan. And that's going to be broken down in 3 areas we're going to talk about down here in just a minute. Which brings us to the idea that, well, what is this? 4 to 6% you hear, 6 to 8% you'll hear, 9% plus. All of those are fine. Like you're not going to get a specific answer from me until you tell me what your strategies and your goals are. When you outline these here, this discussion becomes crystal clear on where we want to actually target your budget. When we don't have these answers up here, this just becomes sort of a potluck. We'll spend the money we'll guess, but now we're increasing our risk. So to decrease your risk and make it a smarter process, let's focus on the core strategies and setting goals by verticals, and then we can be very targeted with digital expenditures and omni-channel approach. Again, I can't emphasize enough how much we've seen historically when we spend across all medias, not just digital, the cost per lead and the cost per conversions drop, meaning that we just get the opportunity to see a much broader target audience up here. And so people, we call it the rule of 7. 7 touches on your brand, 7 messages to an individual before they actually can consume your product or service. It's called the rule of 7. When that's out there, this money needs to be targeted at that set of principles. Well, if we cross over many channels, we have a better opportunity for the rule of 7 to work. So that gets us into this marketing media choice, which is really the basis of this opening video. So I have internal marketing problems. I have external media, which is what we're really talking about here in this particular group of videos and support structure. And I have operational marketing. All 3 of these affect performance of leads, conversions, all of it. So if a customer service representative is not answering lead generation calls, and we've created them over here, we're losing conversions. We're losing profitability opportunities. Conversely, if we do not train our technicians on indoor air quality and how to communicate and have a conversation with a homeowner, we may lose lead turnovers here. So again, we've generated opportunities here. So all 3 of these are critical to your success. We've spent time in the marketing section on all these today, and through this process, we're going to be talking about the media plan, and we're going to be talking about digital marketing. So there's literally going to be about, call it 24 or 25 different bullet point videos where we're going to go through in this particular Contractor University module, where we're breaking down all aspects of digital. And the process that we want to understand, though, is that as we work through omni-channel marketing, that traditional marketing overlays with digital, and again, that creates a synergistic effect. If people are seeing me on radio, or hearing me on radio, or seeing me on TV, or OTT, so Hulu, Netflix, whatever, or they're getting newspaper print ads, or they're getting some direct mail, all those things work together for the rule of 7, those 7 touches we need. So I am going to talk through in just a minute when we go back into the studio and I bring up some files. I've got a breakdown and outline of how you might want to ask questions about your company. So the first thing that I want everybody to do is do an assessment. Just have a basic understanding of what we're doing and what we might want to change or how we might want to adapt. So I'm going to give you a media file that gives you an evaluation process. I also have a checklist that we use with our clients where you basically just go down through the checklist and say, are you doing all these activities well? So obviously we've got activities here and activities here. So this discussion is going to center on the media and on digital on itself. So basically I want to make sure you understand that all companies will benefit by having a structure like this first before we spend any money down here or in here. All right, let's go back in studio. All right, so if we pull up this file and we take a look at exactly what I'm describing here, you'll notice that this is called a marketing planning roadmap. And so I built this for my agency clients, and essentially I'm training you as a Contractor University client. The situational analysis is always going to be the very first thing that we do. We're going to be looking at what's happening inside of our market position. We just literally went through that discussion. What I will say is there is an opportunity for a brand identity to be discussed. So if your brand identity is fantastic and you love what you have, we move down into the next set of conversations, which is what am I going to promise to the marketplace? And how am I going to market to these areas? So we've got roofing, we've got plumbing, we've got HVAC, we've got electrical, we've got solar, we got all these trades. So, EGIA, Contractor University, focuses on HVAC, plumbing, and electrical businesses today. So, and to some degree, solar. So if we looked at that, here's what we're going to be thinking about. I want you to ask questions about all these areas. So again, we just discussed the principle, and I'm going to just go ahead and add a drawing feature here. So we're not really worried about the internal marketing section or the operational marketing section. It's the center of the universe right there where we're talking about the digital. I've got the digital outlined in red for you. So all those areas in number 3 represent where you can spend your money on digital. What I want you to recognize, though, is that when you spend money on digital, if you only focus on SEO, which a lot of clients are really saying, well, I just want my organic traffic to be there. I want to generate leads. It's a low cost per lead. That flew in 2010. In fact, there's an article that I'm posting on the site, which is one of our blog posts, which basically says 2010 versus today, the nature of omni-channel marketing versus doing just SEO. You can't get by with just SEO, which is search engine optimization, in today's world. We have to drive people to the website. We have to create traffic. We have to make the rule of 7 work in our favor. So all of these processes here are really great processes. All of them are like children. They all have strengths and weaknesses. But together, they work better in terms of the platform. What I can tell you is that when we are able to take areas of social media, which would be some, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, certainly retargeted ads. When you do that, as well as you do review management, reputation management, SEO, and you do some other traditional style mediums like direct mail with QR codes, things like that, we produce more leads, we produce a better result because the rule of 7 is in effect. So the process here is for you to understand this is about you asking questions. I'm not asking you to engage in every single one of these activities. You may not have the budget for that. What I'm asking you to do is assess what your budget is and where you might want to best spend your money and how traditional and omni-channel approach work together. You can't just get away with just SEO in today's world, which unfortunately people that were successful in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, lots of people were happy about that, but as the market changed, Google changed, algorithms changed, fragmentation occurred in the marketplace, we got into a place where we really started needing to have other medias work together to create what we call the media mix. Now, the last thing I'm going to outline here on this spreadsheet, again, this will be available to you as part of the Contractor University setup on the site, is if you look at this, this is really the roadmap. So the left-hand side that I just shared with you is kind of the product mix, like this is what we can do. What you choose to do is over here to the right. So for us, we're going to always start off with a company marketing plan, and we're going to want to understand what's going on inside of the world and what's going on inside of your company goals. And we also want to know what's happening in terms of the lead sources. Where are we getting our leads today? But you'll notice that there are various strategies, and then what we're going to do is we're going to put together a group that focuses on the idea that in the world of marketing, digital is the center of the universe. But you'll notice that there are billboards out here, there are radio, there's direct mail, there's television, there's print, there's home shows. There's all these other areas that we refer to as omni-channel approach, and the ability to take all the medias and put them together in a game plan. So later I'm going to take you through how to choose those and how to actually target the timing. Because you can't just do it all in your 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months and expect the results to be effective. You've got shoulder seasons, you've got verticals. So we're going to bring you into this discussion where you actually have a campaign planning system, and that's what you're looking at right now. So I'll scroll to my left. This is the budget tool that we teach in the financial and company planning class. Over here is your budget, and over here is how we're going to deploy the budget. So the media mix has to be omni-channel. It can't just be digital. So when we start talking about digital, which we're going to be going through in the next group of videos, that's fantastic. But we have to understand that marketing and branding and promotions all marry together to make the media mix. So the last point I'll make is this file right here. This is actually part of this particular video in terms of the support materials on the Contractor University site. You'll notice that this is where we start, the appendices, which is the market analysis and the situational questions that we would ask and consumer target profiles. Who are we targeting? Where are we targeting geographically? All that stuff has to be done, okay? But what we have here is a full-scale outline for you of what to do, meaning that as you build your marketing plan needs to have those goals and those strategies outlined. And things like pricing, things like campaigns, things like promotions, things like your internal marketing, all of this stuff has to be merged together. Now, a lot of contractors will say, well, that's complicated, or I don't understand that, or I probably pay somebody to do it. You might want to pay me to do it or pay somebody else. That's fine. But you still have to take responsibility to make sure that you've asked the right questions and you have the right answers about where you want to drive your resources. So if you're going to spend 6% of $10 million, that's $600,000. And let's say a supplier is going to give me $200,000 of co-op money. That's $800,000 that's going into the world, and we should be able to get a return on ad spend, and we should be able to get a cost per lead and a cost per conversion, and so our data and analytics should be telling us. The way to do that is to make sure that you have answers to the questions that are on this file. So that's our opening segue into getting into the real details on digital marketing. And so things have changed in today's world since the last time we were together. And so I think you'll find that there's more detail now, probably more narrow focus on some of these topics, more topics, but more narrow focus. So hopefully by the end of the day, we get you in a position where you understand the specifics. And as always, you have Ask the Expert functionality, so you can always reach out through Ask the Expert through the site, send us a note, and we'll make sure that we do the best we can to answer those questions as quickly as we can. And we'll get the right people to be involved in those discussions. So as always, we appreciate you being a member of Contractor University and appreciate you spending some time talking about omni-channel marketing and how marketing and digital work together. Take care.
Awesome content right there. As usual, be sure to share this on Facebook, and if that's where you're watching this, we'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.